only in the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. IST. So I will try to cover different topics from Selenium automation testing. Definitely I will cover Selenium WebDriver, then I will cover basic and advanced Java, then I will cover TestNG framework, Maven, and then different automation framework technique like data driven framework, keyword driven framework, hybrid framework, and I will create a fresh project from the scratch with the help of page object model, where I will try to incorporate different Selenium as well as other properties like the listener class, right, report ng, different report, and then also I will create one more session for Jenkins, where I will try to show you that how we can integrate the continuous integration and continuous development tool, right, for the Selenium WebDriver. So these are the different agenda for today's topic. So what is the objective of the training and what are the topics will be covered as part of the automation training, how to prepare your resume and what are the tricks to crack interview, what are the additional benefit you will be getting from this training, what is automation testing all about, what is Selenium WebDriver, how we can install Eclipse and Selenium WebDriver in your systems, how you can create your fast test cases with the help of Selenium WebDriver using Chrome driver and Gcode driver. That means Chrome browsers and Firefox browser. What are the different web elements available in Selenium WebDriver, and what are the different web element locator technique through which you can identify different elements available in a web page and you can interact with the web page with the help of the automation test script. Okay, so if I try to first cover the what are the different objective of the training. So definitely nowadays, right, most of the freshers or tester is having the skill set of the manual testing, functional testing, or the product testing. But nowadays definitely those testing will never be disappeared from the market, but in the as a parallel stream you have to learn automation testing, API testing, all the DevOps part if you want to continue your career in the automation phase, right, in the testing arena. Okay, so I must say that definitely you can give more focus on the different manual testing skills, right, different product testing, different domain you can learn, different testing tools and technique you can learn, but still you need to learn either automation testing or API testing or the DevOps part. Automation, definitely there are a lot of different variety of tools available, not only Selenium, Tosca is available, UFT is available, RFT is available, right, along with that Silk is also available. Okay, so you can learn any of the tools, any of the framework, and any of the programming language. So that is the prerequisite of the automation testing, right? And you can go for the API testing, you can learn SOAP UI, you can go for the API Postman, REST Azure, right? And you can go for the DevOps part, right? You can go with the Git, GitHub, Bitbucket, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, and AWS. So along with the testing profiles, right, you need to be comfortable with the automation part, so that you will be your job will be secured and you will get more opportunity, so you no need to worry about your career. Okay, so this is the 30-hour session, 2-hour sessions. I started the session from today, so it will take around 2.5 months time. So I will try to cover 5 to 6 sessions in a month, right, so that 2.5 months I can cover. Because why I am not taking the sessions throughout the weekend, because if I complete the session, so it will, you need to spend around 6 to 8 hours time for each and every session. So to going through the document, I will share all the PPT, whatever I will be showcasing here. I will share the code, and definitely so that you can practice, and I will be recording it and I will be posting in my YouTube channels, so you no need to worry. So you will find everything in your YouTube channels, so you can go through more times, right, so that you after that you can go through the documentation, coding and recording, and you need to practice more and more. And before the session ends, I will try to send you around 600 question and answer solution, right? If you go through that, so that it will be helpful for you to crack the interview. So why you are taking the training, right? Let me clarify it first. Because everybody need to secure their job need to, right, develop their career in a better space, right? So that is the reason everyone nowadays in the IT industry, we need to enhance our career, right? We need to enhance our skill set. So that is the reasons we need to be habituated with the current trends in the market. So nowadays Selenium is in the booming in the market. After for 5 years Selenium will not be relevant in the market. So you have to learn another skill set, another technology, another programming language. But the thing is that if you are comfortable or accustomed with any of the things, right, so it will not be tough for you to go through the other remaining area. Suppose if you know Java, which is the mother of all language, you can easily learn Python, C#, JavaScript, etc. Right? So that is the reason one programming language you must need to be accustomed. Suppose if you have any other idea like web development technologies, right, or Oracle database, SPL, SQL, C++, nothing is irrelevant. If you know something, it will help you to learn other thing very easily. Okay, so you can see this is the bonus. This is my contact number. Sessions will be October, September mid to November. So that was the old one. I updated, but my Excel is not working. So it will be 15 sessions, 2 hours each sessions, weekend 7 to 9 p.m. IST. Bonus for each and every session, I will be sending you the PPT and codes and real-time access to my YouTube channels, so that you can revisit any video any number of times. You can review, you can go through it, and 600 interview question and answers. And also that I will try to help you for your queries and the preparation guide, how you can prepare your resume, what are the different tricks so that you can clear the interview, crack the interview, you can prepare for the better job opportunity. So these are the different topics I will try to cover from the Selenium WebDriver, right? What are the different web elements, how you can interact with the browsers, box, image, checkbox, right? What are the different expert available, how you can create your customized expert, CSS, right? How you can handle frames, how you can capture screenshot, what are the implicit OAT, explicit OAT, what is browser, headless browser testing, right? How you can handle cookies, right? How you can select an options from the auto suggestive drop down. And Java, what is data type, variable, object, classes, what are the different loops, what are the different break statements, continuous statements available, what is wrapper class, what is constructor, how we can handle exceptions, right? What are the ops concept available in Java, what are the different keyword like static, finally keyword, what is the Java input output operation, and what is the collection framework, and definitely not the least is the multi-threading Java. And TestNG framework, I will try to cover all the details, different annotations, different groupings, parallel testings, listener class, data provider, right? And then Mavens, what is Maven all about, how you can run your project through Mavens, right? What are the different repository available in the Mavens, how you can profiling for the Maven, and automation framework, right? What are the best framework available in the market, how you can start your career, start your journey with the help of automation framework creation, what is data driven framework, what is keyword driven framework, what is hybrid framework, how you can read and write data with the help of Apache POI, how you can create a new framework, right, with the help of page object model from the scratch, where you can implement log4j, report-ng, extend report, right, all this stuff. And the last one is the Jenkins, what is the CI/CD all about, what are the different advantage, disadvantage, how you can install Jenkins, how you can set up Git with the Jenkins, right, how you can set up Mavens as well, what is Jenkins build and pipeline, and how you can trigger a build. So that are the different topics I will be covering in the upcoming session. So it will be around 14 to 15 sessions where I will try to cover whatever I have written here. You no need to worry. So you will not only definitely not only getting to know what is different topics all about. I will share the code. I will recording it, right, so that any point of time you can go through. But one request from my side is that you not only need not only attending my sessions on a regular basis, but you are also going through the documentation one, going through the code one, and practicing more and more to be comfortable. So I can assure that you can definitely not only learning the things, right, you can be a master of the automation arena. And definitely any point of time you can create a framework from the scratch without any help from anyone, and definitely you can showcase it in front of your stakeholder, right? As well as definitely it will help you to expand your journey for the better opportunity. Okay, so any questions as of now? Any doubt? Is it understandable? I am fast, or is it fine?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, okay. So as per my experience, as I have taken more than 500 interview as of now, right? So I must, as per my experience, I must say that whenever you are trying to prepare your resume, please be prepare your resume crisp and clear, right? You can add so many tools and technology, but add something whatever you have comfortable, you are having fair knowledge. My request is that do not write anything into your resume whatever you do not know at all. In case you are writing something that you are learner, you are starting the journey in this area, you can mention those points, but mention that as a learner you just started it, right, by yourself or by your organization, you just started the taking the training, all this stuff. Try to avoid writing history in your resume. Okay, what are the different tricks to crack automation interview? So I have mentioned so many things that I will be covering in the upcoming sessions, but you need to learn Selenium WebDriver concept, Java, Maven, TestNG, different framework, and Jenkins. You need to practice so that you will find more challenges which you can try yourself, right, by yourself to finalize, right? In case you are having some troubles, you will be getting to know lot of challenges, and those challenges you can definitely tell your interviewer that these are the thing I have already implemented, right? And because of that, these are the challenges I have faced, and that are the solution I have applied. So because every interviewer will try to get solution that you already worked or not. It is not the theoretical knowledge, also they are looking for the practical knowledge, right? So you need to learn different framework. Any framework is fine, related keyword and hybrid. You can learn page object model. You should be comfortable in parallel testing concept, how you can do the different parallel testing with different browser combination, and definitely about the Java collection framework, OPS concept, and the multi-threading you should learn very thoroughly. Most of the interviewer will try to ask the question from that area only. You can develop a framework from the scratch with the help of page object model, so that any point of time anyone asks how to create the framework, whether you involved in the framework or not, right? What is the challenges, what is your strategy you've taken, you can give the answer thoroughly. And definitely you can learn with the any of the CI/CD tool, and the BB tool is the Maven here, and CI/CD tool is nothing but the kind of continuous integration and continuous development tool, which is Jenkins here, right? And then you can learn different testing concept, what are the different things you will be automating it, right? Whether it's regression testing, whether it's mock testing, right? Whether it's other different kind of testing, right? How you can also learn how to do the POC. If you already have familiar with the term POC, which is nothing but the proof of concept, where before starting the automation, right, you need to identify what are the tools will be relevant for the project, how you can kind of save effort, save cost, all this stuff, and how it will be more relevant for the client or for the other stakeholder, right? And you need to calculate the ROI, return of investment. In case your return of investment is negative, right, or zero, then there is no point of automating, right? In case it is positive, right, multiplied by some point, right, then you can go with the automation process, automation developments. Otherwise there is no point of automating this thing. Okay, so what is the automation testing overview? So in case you do not have any fair idea on the testing, so you can go through the different testing artifact. There are a lot of testings available in the market. Definitely if I want to discuss about the software testing life cycle process, right? So you already know whenever the any testing project, right? So definitely we need to come, definitely before testing project comes, right, we need to prepare some strategy document, testing plan, right, that this will be the thing we'll be doing it, and this is the plan, that so many resources will be involved, so many testings will be there, right. And definitely after that you'll be getting some requirement, where all the requirement you are going through it. After that you are developing test script, then test cases, you are preparing requirement testability matrix, which is RTM. After that you are proceeding with the step by step execution. First you are going through the system testing, then system integration testing, right, then end to end testings, then your UAT testings, and then it is going to the productions. One is it is going to the production also, there also some development, some problem is coming, right, so you are giving the warranty support and the project is getting successful. So that's why, right. And as a tester, right, you definitely need to design the test case, execute the test case, and then you need to right, identify the defect. That is the main objective of your testing. In case there is no defect, there will be no value of the tester, right. So only in case there is a defect, then only tester will get more and more value. Okay, so main objective of the testing is that, right, whatever fault development team will be doing, we need to find the as a defect, them as a defect, and development team will fix them as a, fix them and they give the solution, and so that there will be no defect will be there in the production. So you already know that if we fix the defect early in the life cycle, so the cost will be less. In case it is later in the life cycle, cost will be more and more. And as part of the defect management cycle, right, first we need to identify the defect, then we will be logging the defect in any of the defect management tool. It can be Jira, it can be ALM, it can be Azure DevOps, right. Then defect will be assigned to the developer, and in case developer finds that is a valid one, they will fix the defect. In case it is not a valid one, they will not going to fix it, they are going to reject it. And in case that is a valid, but that will not be fixed in the current sprint, or maybe it will go for the next sprint one, so they can make this a deferred one, right. In case defect is valid, they are going to fix in the current one, they will take care and they will fixing it. After that it is coming to the testers again, so the tester is going to retest it. In case it is found to be working fine, they are closing it, right, and in case it is not working fine, it will be reopened again and again, and that's why the life cycle will continue. But at the end of each sprint, or at the end of the project, as a testing standpoint, we need to make sure that there is no defect open, at least the critical, major, or the blocker one. Medium or minor defects, maybe some defect can be there, but definitely some workaround should be established, so that there will be no major impact on the production's behavior of the project or of the product. So automation testing is a software testing method or technique to test any application and compare the actual result with the expected result. This can be achieved by designing test script using any relevant automation testing tool. It cannot be, it is not like that we will be going only with the Selenium, no. You can go with other technologies, other tools. If you know Selenium, so you can learn JavaScript, Python, Java, or C#, right? If you know work with the UFT, you can you definitely need to know the VBScript, right? If you work with Tosca, I think no mature programming language is related. It is in UI based tool, but definitely this UI based tool have some limitation as well, right? Selenium also have some limitation, but Selenium is a very open source tool, and it has lot of integrations point suitable. So that is the reasons, like lot of other open source tools can be integrated with Selenium. That is the reason Selenium still in demanding in the market, right? So during manual testings, user used to run them manually without any proper support or any relevant tool was available. Definitely we used to run manual basis, design test case and writing the execution test case. However, for automation testing, right, test cases will be executed with the help of one or appropriate tools. Automation testing is also more reliable as there is less chances of human error. In manual testing, user have to run test cases manually every time based on their need. So every time, the first time, suppose say it took around 10 hours to execute 10 test cases. Next time also it will took same time. maybe 1 or 2 hour less time can be there. But during the automation testing, so once you developed your code, the same set of code can be run multiple times with minimal manual intervention, right? So that's why we will be doing the automation testing. Will be code one times and we can run multiple times anywhere, right, with the help of any browser, and it will not take much time. That is the benefit of the automation, right? And the main goal of the automation testing is to increase the test efficiency and developing the software value, right? What are the different things we can automate? Primarily automations will be there for the regression testing or smoke testing, but nowadays we are also automating that in case some test data need to be created, we can automate the process. If for any kind of build deployment for the continuous part, we can automate it. We can automate the functional test case also, right? So during automation, right, few of the important scenario we need to keep in mind, right? In case your requirement is not stabilized, your requirement is still not fixed, there is no point of automating, because requirement will get changed, your test case will get changed, and again your flow will get changed. So there is no point of automating. In case the product is not stable enough, lot of defect is there, you cannot automate it, right? So product should be stabilized, requirement should be stabilized. And automation should be for the big project, and automation should be those functionality which will be required multiple times instead of only one times, right? And in case there is a time crunch or time shortage, you can automate those activities, right? So this is the different, this is the basic automation testing life cycle. So first you will be doing the planning, then you will be going for the design, then enhancement, and then you will be running and debugging the script, and the last part you will be analyzing test result and report as a defect. So planning, so you will be analyzing the requirement, right, and you will analyze the application under test in terms of object identification. Are you able to proceed to the next page, or each and every page you are able to identify the each and every object, right? And definitely you need to identify the test case, whatever test case will be automating, whether it's a mock tools, whether it's a basic flow, or whether it's a regression test cases. Then you will be going for the design, right? So during the framework part, definitely you will be not be going as a standalone way. You will be using some framework, right? So that you will be, for each and every page you will be creating the page library. Instead of writing same script number of lines, number of times, or number of lines, you will be creating a method for the similar kind of step, and you will be calling them, right? You will be design this step using the different element locator technique. Then you will be enhancing it, means, so you already written the flow, but what is your main objective? Your main objective is that you need to add a verification point or assertion point, right? So definitely, just like the functional test case, you need to verify with someone that something is matching with the actual one. In case not matching, your main objective is to write as a defect, to raise as a defect. So you will be inserting verification point with the help of assert or verify commands. You can parameterize it, means that in case same sort of test case need to be run with multiple data, so definitely you just will change the data only. Otherwise, rest of the thing will be there. You can need to handle different expected unexpected error. Sometimes you know that something is expected, sometimes you do not know the expectance, right? Suppose if you want to divide something by 0, that you already know that is the not expected one, but that will throw some error, but you can handle with the help of arithmetic exception. And sometimes exception will raise during thing, but still you can handle something if you know this thing. So that will be a start step. Fourth step is that, right, you need to whatever test cases you are writing, you need to run them, right, as a bulk order, and you need to find what are the different challenges you are facing. In case you are facing something, you debug them, you need to fix them. After that, as part of your last step, as and when required, suppose as part of MOOC or as part of regression, you need to run the full suite, and then you need to analyze the test result. Sometimes your test result can be false, means your failure can be there, but not because of the application failure, because of some other failure, kind of synchronization issue or other issue. So you need to analyze all the failure, and if you find that all the failure is because of a real issue, then you need to log as a defect, and you need to prepare the test summary report for the automation. So that is the automation life cycle all about. So there are different automation tools available in the market, Apart from Selenium, UFT is there, RFT is there, Tosca is there, Silk there, Securely, SOAP UI especially for the API part, Securely is for the GUI testing, APM is for the mobile testing or the native support testing, right? Native apps testing. TestNG is a framework just similar kind of JUnit. JUnit especially for the development team mostly use them, whereas TestNG mostly used by the testers. It can be integrated with the different frameworks, Selenium, APM, and the REST assured. So if you know Java and TestNG, it will not only help you Selenium testing, it will also help you with the help of APM or REST assured testing for kind of API testing. Tosca, RFT and UFT is a kind of license tool. You need to buy license with the help of additional revenue, whereas Selenium is a free tool, so you no need to invest any amount for the Selenium license. And this is an open source tool. This is the component of the Selenium. So initially when Selenium came into the market, so it was Selenium IDE or integrated development environment. Then Selenium remote control RCF came, and then WebDriver came. After that, Selenium RC and Selenium WebDriver was merged into Selenium 2 and then Selenium 3, right? So Selenium RC was the greater version of the compared to Selenium IDE, right, which allows to a user to use programming language and creating complex test cases, whereas Selenium WebDriver was more adaptable or more advanced one than the Selenium IDE or RC, right, which communicates to the browsers, and definitely it can be controlled from the operating system level. Whereas Selenium Grid is a tool, right, used together with the Selenium RC, especially for the parallel testings, right. We can run same set of test case in multiple browser and multiple operating systems. What are the different advantages of the Selenium? Selenium is open source tools and free software, right. Here there is no license cost required. Selenium can be supported with different programming language. C#, Java, Ruby, Perl, PHP and Python can be supported by Selenium. It can be used with the many operating systems. It can be used by Linux systems, Mac or Windows. It can supported by different browsers, right. It supports different browsers like Safari, Opera, IE or Internet Explorer, Chrome and Firefox. Selenium Grid help in parallel distributed testing. It uses very less hardware comparative to other tools. Suppose if you are having 1 GB RAM, it's fine. Suppose if you want to use, suppose say UFT or QTP, right, you need to minimum 4 GB RAM is required, because your RFT is used to take 3 GB RAM. Otherwise your speed will be very slow and you will not able to do some work. What are the disadvantages, right? So as it is a free tool, no proper vendor support will be there, right. There is no object repository concept like UFT is there, and for reading and writing any external files you have to write your code by oneself, right. No customized library or framework is available. And if you want to learn Selenium WebDriver, you have to rely on different programming language. So if you do not have any other knowledge, right, so definitely you cannot work, so you need to be more knowledgeable, right. Sometimes web service, REST or SOAP cannot be automated using Selenium. What are the advantages of Selenium WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver supports multiple browsers. I already mentioned Google Chrome, IE, Firefox, Opera, Android, and as well as for tablet and phone iOS browsers, right. Selenium used like for different operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux, different language. Selenium WebDriver is faster than IDE and RC, right. It controls browser by the help of programming. It supports data-driven testing and cross-browser testing. It supports parallel testing with the help of JUnit or TestNG framework. So what are the basic difference available with the, if you want to compare with the Selenium with the UFT? Selenium is open source, where UFT is licensed tools. Selenium support multiple operating system. UFT support MS Windows only. Selenium supports multiple programming environment, right? Programming knowledge, whereas UFT support VBScript. No inbuilt object repository available in Selenium, whereas local and shared object repository inbuilt available in the UFT or QTP. No built-in reporting features in Selenium, whereas it is available in UFT. Selenium supports primarily web application testing, but nowadays it is supporting also desktop, right. But UFT also primarily used for the desktop application, but it also support web application. Selenium uses less hardware, whereas UFT uses more hardware, right. Parameterization can be done easily if it is inbuilt in UFT, whereas you need to write so many lines of code for the parameterization, or you need to rely on the external plugins, add-ons, right, for the Selenium, right. Permanent support can be there from HP, and it is a product of HP, and you are buying license for the HP, but here Selenium is a free tool, so sometimes no reliable support can be found, right. What are the basic difference between Selenium and Silk? Selenium is open source, Silk is a license. Selenium supports multiple operating system, whereas EFT supports only MS Windows only. Lot of books, reference, YouTube video, documentation can be found for Selenium, but Silk, not much difference can be found. Selenium support variety range of browsers. Silk support only IE and Firefox. Selenium supports different programming language, whereas Silk uses Fortran script language, which is similar to C++. Selenium primarily support web application, whereas Silk primarily support the client server based application. Then what is the prerequisite for the Selenium? First you need to install Java, then you need to install any IDE, which can be Eclipse as well. Then you need to install Selenium WebDriver, which is nothing but the combination of different jar file where you can find the different interfaces and the class, from where you will be finding different methods or different kind of functions which you can call, right, and then you can perform different operations. And you need to install different WebDriver, right, for the different browser. Okay, so that is the prerequisite. I'll be letting you know how you can install it one by one and how you can go to develop your first script with the help of Selenium WebDriver, right. So any questions so far? Is it fine? Are you able to understand? Yes.
Yes.
Alisa, are you good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is the first one, is the Java. So if I go to that one, right, so this is the URL for Java. I already mentioned in my PPT, you can find it. So if you go to that link, right, so you need to download any version of the Java. So you can go to the Java version. So first, before that, you need to find out what is the system all about, right? What is the programming operating system of your system, right? So how can you find it? You can find your PC or this PC, go to the properties, right, and then you can find out that what is your operating system, or whether it's a 32-bit or 62-bit, like that, right. You can see here what is your RAM configuration. You can see 8 GB RAM my system, okay, and 64-bit systems, and this is my operating system Windows 10, right. So based on the combination you can install Java on your system. So Java is available nowadays from 8 to version 17. So you can go for 8, 10, 11, that's fine, it will not be a problem. So based on that you need to install it, right. So you need to go to the Windows and you can install it based on your bit machine. Once it is installed Java, right, it will be installed in your C drive. So my computer, C drive, program files, Java, and you can see here also for two version is there also for me, 10 and 8. So 10, if you go to the JDK, right, so that is your base thing, JDK, Java Deployment Kit. JR is nothing but the Java runtime environment. Then if you do not know how you can also identify the Java has been installed or not, go to the command prompt, right, and then you can type here Java and then space version. So you can get what is the version is already installed in system. You can see here it is the version 10.1. It is already installed. You can see in this file a lot of things is there, but right, if you go to the my computer properties, you need to add this thing, two things, right. You need to go to the advanced system settings. You need to go to the environment variables. You need to add it. One is the Java -home, and you need to add the path with the help of clicking new, right. Java -home, all are caps, _home. You need to give the path till the JDK folder, this folder. And once it is added here, you need to go to the path variables, and if you click on the edit, and you need to add a new options, and you need to add the path till the bin folder. So that's why you need to set these two things once Java is loaded into the system. Then if you type your version, you will be getting that one, right? So that is the prerequisite for Java installation. Once you install Java, in the environment variables you need to add java_home, and in the downside system variables you need to add the path till the bin folder. Okay, so that's why you can install Java, otherwise lot of problem can come. Okay, so that is the first thing. Then you need to install Eclipse. So if you go to the second one, that is the Eclipse one, right? In the Eclipse, lot of versions available. You can go for any versions here. You can go for the Windows, that one, right? Eclipse one. So after installations, it will look like that. So it will be zip files if you download it. So I already installed here Eclipse in the C drive. So after extracting this one, this will be look like that way. And for this is the basic applications eclipse.application file. So if you open it, so first you need to set the workspace, and then it will look like that Eclipse. Okay, so that's why you can Eclipse here install your Eclipse in your system. Then the third one is the WebDriver. WebDriver is nothing but the Selenium jar file. In case you, yeah, yes,
Yeah. So actually, I installed Eclipse, but when I'm trying to open, it's saying version 1.8.0 of JVM is not suitable for this product. Version 11 or greater is required. But I also installed the latest Java JDK. 17.
yeah, that's fine. But yeah,
Yeah. Also, I did the environment variable.
yeah, in case any problem, I will check. Okay, no need to worry. I will
Yeah.
check from other day. Okay, no problem. I will do the needful. But in the meantime, I will try to give you some tricks so that if you follow, most of the problem will be solved. In case still nothing is solved, I will let you know. Okay. Then next one is the Selenium jar files. So that is the path for Selenium jar files, right? So you can see this is 3.14.1 version available, but nowadays version 4 came into the market, but still it is not 100% genuine one. That is the reason you should go for the stable one. 3.14.1. If you download it, it will be look like that, Selenium jar file, Selenium standalone jar files. Okay, that is the third prerequisite. And fourth one is that you need to go with the driver. Can you mute yourself? Yeah. Okay, so fourth one is that the jar driver. Suppose if you want to do with the Chrome driver, Gecko driver, iBrowser, so you need to relevant browsers. So before that you need to check the versions of the browsers, right? After that you need to install the current driver based on the version. So how you can identify the version of the browser? Click on the help and click on the about. So you can find out that what version is there, right? So this is the 93 version. Okay, so you need to install driver for the 93 version, right? So here if you install it, so that is the site, and you need to go for 93. Okay, you can see this is the 93, right? So you need to install that one, not the other one, 92 or 94. So based on your browser version in your system, you need to go for suitable driver. Okay, similarly for the Chrome driver, you need to go for the Firefox driver. For you need to install Gecko driver for the Firefox browser. So whatever version you are using, you need to install it. So I have already installed two driver in my desktop here. This is my Chrome driver, this is my Gecko driver. So this is the 4 prerequisites you need to install. After that, once your Eclipse is open, you need to create a project, right? So here I am giving some tips. Okay, so I already know that if you are using Java version which is beyond 1.8, some problem can come. Okay, so if whenever you are creating a Java project, please click on that file new Java project. So that is the option, file new Java project. Okay, here please select the version as Java AC 1.7. Do not select more than that. Java AC 1.7, because Java 0.199 onward, if you select lot of things, you need to add it. Okay, still this thing is most of the tester is not comfortable, so I initially preferred that please select 1.7, so that your most of the problem will be fixed. Do not select more than 1.8. I think it's better to select 1.7 or 1.8. I used to select 1.7 always, and based on that automatically you will be there. So you select that option, use an execution environment theory, and you need to give the project name. Okay, so I am giving the project name as Selenium September 21 batch. Okay, and I am clicking on the finish. So that is your first part, to create the project. Once you create the project, you can find it here, you expand it, there will be a src file, and this is your java jar file, means all the classes interface. Right now no, after second session in the Java, so that you can Java, then cover the remaining Selenium WebDriver session, and then I will go with the TestNG, then Maven, and then framework, and then framework creation from the scratch. So that's why I will try to give you the training. So you no need any prerequisite, so you can learn everything from the scratch. You no need to worry. Just one request missing. Okay, so after you right click on the src folder, so you need to create a package. Okay, so new package.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Do we have to do it side by side along with you, like downloading
No,
some
no. I will be providing you the PPT, so you can take it. And if you have any doubt, you can go through my recordings once, not side by side. And if you still stuck, I will help you there. Okay, any day.
Yeah.
Okay, you can call me and we'll sit for 5-10 minutes and we can sort it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can give some name as training, and you can click on the finish button here. Right, after the package is created, you need to create a class, then right click and then create a class. Okay, suppose say season 1. Okay, and you can, for now you can select public static void main, because this is the main method is required for the Java class. In case you are using any TestNG class, no need to worry about that. So you will be learning step by step. You will be also learning what is the main method, what is SOIC method, all this stuff. Okay, so right now for 2 sessions you just try to understand whatever I am writing. I am trying to showcase you. No need to worry, all the concept you will be learning from the scratch. Okay, then you can type something SOISO. If you press control enter, automatically method will be coming, system out method, right, system.out.println, it will be coming, and you can type something so that it will be printed in the console. That is the console here. Okay, so that is the method system out.println, and then if you type something, my first code. Okay, so that's why it will be running. You can see this is the package is coming here, this is the class, this is the main method, and where within the double bracket you are trying to write your code in the with the help of SOISO method. And this is the run button if you want to run it from here, or either you can right click and then run as and Java. So that what output will be coming is your console.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you use some shortcut to auto-populate?
Yeah. So no, I used SOISO, press control enter.
Okay.
SOISO control enter, SOISO control enter. Okay, automatically system.out.print.ll method will be coming, and you can write your code. Okay, suppose say you can write here something, but everything should be double bracket. So all the Java syntax I will be letting you know. No need to worry how to deal with Java. We'll be learning basic and advanced Java from my second line Java code. So if you write in from here now, will be see that both the lines will be coming here as part of the console. This is the console, right? My first line Java code, my second line Java. So that's why you will need to create a class. Okay. So all the things I have given. Then the next is that whatever jar file we have loaded. So I already show you what is the importance of Java, right? Then you already know what is the importance of Eclipse. Then I will show you what is the importance of jar file, right? So jar files, so the Selenium jar file you downloaded. Now you need to associate to the project. So now you can see here only that JRE system library, that is the file is available. But if you right click here, project, you need to associate the jar file, which is the Selenium jar file. Okay, you need to go to the Java build path, library, add external jars, and then whatever jar file I have downloaded here, I will be adding it. So this is the jar file I have added, I have downloaded. This is the jar file. You can 3.14% apply and close. So immediately after you can see there is a difference library version is coming, right, added. So here all the Java Selenium standalone jar is getting added. Means here you will find all the packages, and under the packages you will be finding different class and different interfaces. So all the concept will be clear in the upcoming session, so no need to worry. And how you can comment out the code, select those line of code whatever you don't want to remove, but you want to keep them as a code, right? Add block comment, so that will be commented, right? So now if you try to run something, no output will be there. So code is there, but you are discarding the code for execution, right? So that's why you can comment it out, any lines of code. If you uncommented, just select the line of code again, and then you can click remove block comment. Okay. So that's why you can first comment it out something, and you can uncomment it out something. Okay, and also there's a provision that you can comment out from here also. Right click, I think surrounds with no, okay, try catch block. Okay. No, you need to either you can comment out that way // right, or you can comment out from here also. That is the another way, that is single line commented out. If you want to comment multiple out, /star, and at the end you need to give /star, sorry, */. Okay, you can see. So that is the multiple line commented out. If you want to remove, so you can remove, either remove that one or select and uncomment it out. Source, remove block comment. Okay. So that's why you can comment it out. So what is the prerequisite? I am repeating once more time. So that is the prerequisite for Selenium. JDK, Java is required for your system. Eclipse IDE you need to install in your systems. You need to install WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver, which is nothing but the combination of jar file, where you will find all the relevant interfaces as well as the class. Then you need to get all the drivers for the different browsers. For the Chrome browser it will be Chrome driver, for the Firefox browser it will be Gcode driver, and for the I browser it will be I driver. So if you want to deal with different browsers, so you need to download different things. After that, when your Eclipse is done, you need to click file and new Java project, right? New project, new, or you can select new project. Here you can select Java also. If you do not know, here you can type Java. You can see it coming. If you click next, you can select the Java, that one not beyond 1.7 or 1.8. You can give some project name, and then you can create the Java project. Once it is created, you can create a package in the src folder. Once the package is created, you can create a class in that particular packages. Then you can associate the Selenium jar file in the particular project. Why are we associating? Because we need to use the different interfaces, different methods, right? Class, from where we will be getting all the important method, right? So that is the reason it is required. Okay, so every step I have tried to given in the PPT, and after session is over, I will try to share all the PPT and all the code. You no need to worry. Okay, so that you can go through once more time, and that will be a lifetime thing, right? If you suppose say after 1 year, 2 years, if you do not work on the cell name, definitely you can forget. But if you gone through all the details, you can easily remember it. You can gone through the code, you can easily remember it. What are the thing you need to write it, right? So that's why it will help you. These are the different naming convention I have given. Because why you need to use the naming convention? Because if in case you are using as a one man army, or you are just practicing, you no need to follow anything, okay? But for the long run, if you want to work for any organizations, right, you are working as a team member for a big team, every organization need to follow some protocols, right, some standardization. So that is the reason, in case you are creating any class, it should be start with upper class letter, right? It should be noun from. Interfaces should be like adjective from, should be start with upper class letter. Method name would be verb, it should start with the lower class letter. In case multiple portion is there, second part or third part, you can go with the starting point, you can go with the uppercase. Variable should be start with lowercase. Package name should be start with lowercase. In case you are declaring something as constant, it should be uppercase, completely uppercase letter. So that are the different naming convention. Whenever I will teach you that how I will be creating the framework from the scratch, there I will let you know what are the different combination, different comprehension, different terminology you need to use, right? So that definitely it will not only help you, it will help your other pairs, your leads, right? At the end of the day, your project. So your project will be more successful. So if you practice, follow the practice. So these are the different tips I have tried to given, especially which is required for the Eclipse. You can restore Eclipse, you can clean it. Sometime if you export a project, right? Sometimes suppose today you are creating a Eclipse project, and tomorrow some other person need to use your code. How can you do it? You can export it completely, right? And then you can send it. So the next time they will import it in the Eclipse, so all the code they can get it. Okay, without using Git. Okay. Sometimes you need to clean your project, because sometimes some problem can be there. If you clean it, sometimes problem can solve. You can restart your Eclipse also. Okay. So how can you run your fast test cases, right, for Chrome browser, with the help of Chrome browsers? How can you run it? Suppose say I have already created the project, right? I already created the package, I already created the class. Then how I will be writing it, right? So you need to type your system dot. If you press dot, right, you can find all the relevant important methods available, right? So system dot set property, right? So you need to write it here. Set property, not property. And here you need to type key and value. So key will be WebDriver within your double quote, WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver. It will be fixed. It will be fixed throughout your life. Okay. So you need to no need to worry. Okay. And in case it is a Firefox driver, it will be only WebDriver dot gcode dot driver. In case it is IE, it will be WebDriver dot IE dot driver. That is the different thing you need to change. Otherwise, rest of the thing will be same. And value will be nothing but the path of your Chrome driver exe file. So you can select, right click here, and you can get the properties, and here you will be getting the path, right? This is the path, you can give it within double quote. Okay, this is the path, and then you need to give the file name as well, right? Okay, so file name is nothing but the Chrome driver dot exe. So that's why you can deal with that. You can see here Chrome driver dot exe. Type of the file is exe, description is Chrome driver. Path / description dot exe extension. Everything will be double quote. and all your code lines of code will be ending with inverted semicolon. That is the common thing for Java. So I will be letting you know everything whenever I will be starting Java. So after 2 session, basic session is over for the Selenium, I will create 4 to 5 sessions for Java. Once Java is over, I will go for the remaining Selenium one, and then complete Maven, TestNG. Then I will create for few sessions for data driven framework, keyword driven framework, and hybrid framework. Then I will create one complete fresh real time project with the help of page object model, where I will be using the hybrid framework, and try to implement other like report ng report, extend report, Apache POI, like log4j, everything, listener class, all this stuff. And I will create one more session for Jenkins, where I will be doing continuous integration testing. Okay, so that is the first part we need to set up, right? Then we will be calling WebDriver interface. So we need to create a object or instance, that is the object or instance driver equal to WebDriver driver equal to new, because it is a Chrome, so it will be Chrome driver. See, Chrome driver, this is the class. From where it will be coming? It will be coming from the Selenium standalone jar file, because WebDriver is an interface available in that jar file. So you can see some error message is coming, right? That is the error message is coming. So you can see WebDriver cannot be resolved to a type, right? Similarly, Chrome driver cannot be resolved to a type. So why it is not resolved? Because you did not associated or imported that Chrome driver class, which is available in the org.openqa.selenium.chrome packages. Okay, so that you can see it is already imported, right? Another error, still error message is there. Okay, so sometimes interviewer used to ask that question. So now you need to import WebDriver, which is interface. Please be remember that WebDriver interface, whether Chrome driver, iDriver or GCodriver, is a class. What is the difference between class and interface? I will let you know in the upcoming session. No need to worry. For the interface, you directly cannot create an object or instance, but for the class, you can directly create an object or instance. Okay. For the WebDriver, we cannot directly create an object or instance. That is the reason we are creating a class object or instance. Okay, now you can see error message gone, but YOLO warning is there. Why? You can see the value of the local variable driver is not used, right? So we have declared the driver variable object or instance, but it is not used, right? Then I will using it, right? So first, once I create the driver object or instance, I will be maximizing driver dot manage. So after typing the driver, you can first seeing all the important method, right? Manage, right? Where you can see the from where it is coming, manage method from where it is coming, it will give you options, right? And it is coming from the WebDriver interface. Okay, so that's so you can understand. And again, if you press dot, so again lot of methods will be there, right? It is coming. Okay, you can see this is the void is return type, and options means it will again have lot of variety things. Okay, so manage dot window. Okay, still you can see this option is coming, options is there, right? Dot maximize. Now you can see it is coming from the window class, and return type is void. So right now nothing will be available after that. Then I need to launch some web page, right? So driver dot get, that is the method through which you can launch a web page. So get, you can see from where it is coming. So you no need to, I must say that capture something, but if you try to learn the thing from your expertiseness, you can easily answer all these things, right? So if you type something, you can see this is coming. Why is it nothing, no return type, right? Return type either can be variable object or it can be void, means nothing, it will return nothing. Okay, and WebDriver, it is coming from the WebDriver. Then here you need to pass the argument, means suppose say I want to open that page, ready web page, right? So I can pass the URL here, so it will open that one. Okay, so that's how it will give you. Now if you want to print something, so I already mentioned, right? SOI, SO is the method which will print something here in the output. Suppose say I can mention that ready page should open, so that will be printed in my console. Otherwise After opening the driver page, nothing will be displayed in the console because there is no return type. Return type is void, right? Open successfully. Okay. Now if you want to print something with the help of driver, you can still print it out. So here you can get the title of the page, right? So you can print driver dot get title. You can see lot of method is coming, right? You can see now here return type is string, right? Suppose the title, you can see return type is not a void here, string return type, and it is coming from the WebDriver interface. So it will print you string, means title is definitely string because it's alphanumeric combination. So that's why you can print it out. Now if you want to run your code, you will see those line of code will be running and you will get everything as your in the output. Okay, so it will try to launch a Chrome browsers. It will maximize the browsers. It will pass the URL for the ready page, right? Then it will it will print that out and it will also get the display, the title. Why it is coming? You can see exception in the matrix session not created. Okay, that is the error message is coming. The version of the Chrome drivers only support version 91. So my Chrome driver has been updated. I did not use for last 2 to 3 weeks. It has been updated. So initially it was 91. So whatever I have downloaded, it was for 91. But now it is 93. My version has been updated. So that is the reason I did not intentionally updated it to show you the result error. How you need to fix the error, because that is the very important part to fixing your code. Running is definitely important, but fixing by through getting to know the result is also important, because you can see that whatever driver I have loaded now it can support 91, but I have now it's updated to 93. Either I need to downgrade my browser to 91 or need to install the relevant browser for 93, right? So now I can go for 93. Okay, this is the 93 version. Okay, I can install it. Okay, so that my machine name is Mac 64-bit. I can go for that one. I can go to the download folder. So let's move it to somewhere. Okay, now I can download it. Go to the download folder. You can see that is there. I can extract it and I can copy and I can paste it here. Okay, so path will remain same, name will remain same. Now if you want to run it, right, Chrome driver, is it installed successfully? No, why? Chrome driver, let's extract it completely. Oh, it is Mac. Sorry, I have downloaded for Mac one, right? So I need to go for that one, Windows 32, not the Mac machine. That is really not working. So let's go for the Windows 32. Okay, let's refresh. So name is same. So path will be also same because I am saving in my desktop. Okay, so now it should be comfortable enough and it should be running. Okay. So now let's try to run it, the same lines of code now, and you can see it should be running. So that's why you should fix your problem based on the error message you are seeing here, right? The error message clearly mentioning, right, session not created because the version you are using is 90, support can 91, but your current version of your web page, what is the version, you can simply check it, right? You can go to any driver, any browsers, right? So that is the browser. You can go to help and go to about Google Chrome, you can easily see it. That is the version 93. Okay, so now if you try to run it, your code, you can see it it will be running successfully. There should not be any issue. You can see it is launching. Okay, the page is getting launched. Fine, so my work is done. Now if I want to go to the thing, you can see that part is coming here, right? And also it is giving the title, because the title of the page should be ready. Okay, because this is the page title is ready mail. Okay, ready mail. So that's why you can go for that. You can develop script with the help of different Selenium WebDriver class and interface, all the methods, using all the methods. Okay, similarly you can go with that Firefox driver, right? So only you need to change is that WebDriver.gcodriver. Okay, only that part, and here it will be Firefox driver instead of Chrome driver. Otherwise, rest of the thing will be same. Then I will try to cover the different element locators, right? So what is locator? So in the web page, right? If you open any web page, okay. So this is the web page, right? So this is the different field. This is different web edit field, right? This is the different checkbox. This is the different link. So each and every field will be termed as element in the web page. And for each and every element, you need to identify the properties first. Once you identify the properties, you can interact with that way, right? So that's why you can interact it. So the locator can be termed as an address that identifies a web element uniquely within the web page. Locators are the HTML properties of a web element. Element locators are common for all the browsers. There is a diverse range of web element available in any web page. The most common are definitely you know, right? Hyperlink, link, radio button, text box, edit box, frame, web table. So I will upcoming session I will let you know how you can interact with all different kind of fields. So how you can inspect an element, right? So after opening the web page, you need to press F12 button from your keyboard, F12 button. So I have written it, okay. After you press F12 button from your keyboard, so you can find the inspect locator icon will be coming. You need to select that one and you need to mouse over your cursor and you need to select for an element, right? So that you will be getting everything, all the properties, right? You can see, you will be getting the properties. You need to mouse over, right? You can see it is getting the properties. So either you can find out here ID, right? Or you can right click here and you can copy element and you can paste any of the notepad, right? If you not relying anything here, so you can easily verify that what are the different properties through which I can identify that element, right? So there are 8 element locator properties available, right? Whatever I will be showcasing it right now. So which is the nothing but the ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, CSS XPath and CSS selector and XPath. So that is the combination you need to follow to identify the element. Divert.find element by, then is the element locator, ID and the value, right? After that you can perform different operations based on the element locator type. In case it is a edit box, you can pass something, right? In case it is a button, you can click something. In case it is a link, you can also click something. So based on the different kind of, in case it is a checkbox, you can check. In case the radio button, you can select something, right? So that's why you can select it. So here driver is the object or instance of the WebDriver. Find element is a WebDriver methods. By is the predefined class in Selenium. ID or name is the element locator attribute and that is the value. So that's why. And in case there is no ID, name, class name is available and you are not able to find that element uniquely, right? You can go with that CSS selector or XPath. So in the separate session I will show you how you can customizedly create your CSS selector or XPath. Okay. So first here, let's try to identify any element. So here you can see ID is there, right, which is login one. So let's try to identify the element after opening the page. So here I have written the program till open the page, right? So I can still comment out, okay. If you want to, you can still write it down here. So after that, I will try to interact driver dot find element here. So find element will be for multiple one and find element for single one. Okay. So by dot id. You can see, and here you need to give the id within second bracket, double quote. Okay. So that's how you can identify the element. Okay, and it's a web edit field. Definitely you can press something, right? So it will be, you need to use send keys. Suppose say I want to send keys Hardhan. Okay. Similar way, the password field, right? You can enter something. Let's try to inspect the element password. Okay, you can see here name attribute is coming, which is password. So you can identify the element with the name instead of ID. So driver dot find element by dot name. Similarly, in case name ID class is present, we can easily identify dot send key. Suppose say I can give something called password. Okay. Now try to run the code and let's see whether this thing is getting added, right? After identifying the element. Okay. So here I have tried to write the program for opening the web ready page, right? So first I am setting the properties for the Chrome drivers. Once I have set the properties, as I am interacting with the Chrome driver, so I am just creating an object or instance for the WebDriver interface and the Chrome driver class. Then with the help of driver object or instance, I am maximizing the driver. I am passing the URL here. Then if I want to print something in the console, so with the help of SYSO method, I am printing it. Then here, as I mentioned here, these are the different web element locator techniques available, right? Which is nothing but the ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, and CSS selector and XPath. In case you are able to find some element with the help of ID, name, and class name, you can definitely proceed. And in case it is a link one, definitely you can use link text or partial link text. And in case with the different 5 element locator techniques, you are not able to proceed or you are not able to identify web element, right? Then you can go with the help of CSS or XPath, which you can customize, create it. And if you do not want to create, there is a provision that you will not be creating only. You can also get that. Okay. So let's try to run your code here. Okay, with the help of different lines of code I have written, right? So I am first launching the Chrome browsers. I am maximizing the browsers. I am trying to get the URL for the ready page. I am just searching the ready emails and ready password. Then I am trying to identify the element, and after that I am trying to perform the operations. And it is a web edit box. Definitely I want to pass some keys as send keys method with the help of send keys method. Okay, you can see it is entering in the username field, and also it will be entered in the password field. In case it is not entering, so you have some error. Okay, it is entering. Okay, so that's why it will be entering in the different link. Okay, suppose say I am still not able to find, right, the ID or password, sorry, ID or name with that field. Then how I can proceed it, right? I already mentioned that in case nothing is available, you need to create your XPath or CSS selector, right? So I will again inspect it. but today I will show you how you can take the default XPath of CSS selector. So you need to select and right click here and go to the copy, and here there is an option, right, copy XPath or copy selector. So you can copy the XPath. So here you need to just change it, right, instead of ID you can change it to XPath. Okay, and then you can change the value here. Okay, so that's how you can do it. Similarly for the CSS selector you can also do it. Driver dot find element here by dot CSS, okay, CSS selector, and for the other field you can give the CSS selector. Let's give it the default one. I am not creating any customized one, so we'll be creating in the upcoming sessions how we can create or customize CSS selector or XPath. So which is very critical, sir. In case you are not able to identify the element, you definitely cannot perform any operation. So first part is that you need to identify the element, right? Send keys, suppose say pass, I want to give it now, and after that you can quit the driver as well, right? So driver dot quit, you can do it, driver dot quit or close, anything you can use. Let's try to run your code. It will launch the Chrome browsers, maximize the browsers, open the Rediff page, and then it will try to identify the element with the help of XPath and CSS, and it will enter the value. After that it will quit the browsers or close the browser. It entered in the username field, it will also enter in the password fields, and then it will quit the browser. So let's see whether it's working or not. With the help of it, you can see it's entered and quit. So that's why you can write either with the help of ID, name, right, CSS selector, and other thing, class, in case it's available you can do it. And I will show you now how we can use link text or partial link text. In case it is a linked only, sorry, link or hyperlink, then only you can use link text or partial link text. Suppose I need to click on the forgot password, right? So that is the text. So I can proceed with the link text. Link text will be used whenever you know that full part of the link text is completely fixed, nothing is volatile, right? And in case suppose link text is very high, you can go for the partial one. Partial one you will go for the fixed part instead of the dynamic one, right? So you can go for the fixed component. So driver dot find element. So in case if you want to give the complete part, you will be going with the help of link text, or in case you can go with the static part instead of the dynamic part, you can go with the partial link text, so that it will not fail. So here you can copy it, because it is a link or hyperlink. So definitely what are the operations you can perform? You can perform only the click operation, right? Because you can click it, right? You can see return type is void and is coming from the web element class. Okay. Now if you want to run it, your code, you can see it will first enter your email ID and password, then it will click on that forgot password link and it will proceed to the other page. It is entering email, username, password, then it will be click on the forgot password. You can see it is coming to the next page, right? So that's how it will be work. Now say with the help of link, partial link text, if you want to check partial link text, so definitely you should not give the complete one, you should use the partial link text, but that should be unique in nature in the page, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so driver dot find element by dot partial link text. right? So here you need to give the partial part, not the complete one. So here I already, suppose say forgot part is the fixed part. So if you know that forgot will be fixed, password can be changed to password 1 2 3. So I will go for the partial one, what with the help of fixed or the fixed component instead of volatile or the dynamic one. So I will go for the fixed or static component. Okay, so it will still work. Dot click, that is a link, right? So it will open in the work in the same way. It will launch the Chrome browsers. It will maximize the browsers. It will try to load the ready web page. It will go for that identify the different element, right? It will enter the user ID password, and then it will click on that forgot password link, right? So most of the thing I have tried to cover: ID, name, password, ID, name, link text, partial link text is the next part. So class, in case already are uniquely available, you can proceed with the class. Another thing, last part for today's session, I will show you how you can perform different operation with the help of tag name, right? So tag name, so each and every, yeah,
One question.
yeah, sorry, Alisa,
Hello.
yeah.
I had a question. So that partial text method can be used only if the text is like unique on the page, right? Like
Definitely right,
what
definitely right. In
only
case,
at
yeah, yeah, in case
yeah.
forgot is present for 2 to 3 times, you cannot use it, right? So you need to, definitely
Right,
everything should
yeah.
be unique in nature in the page. Otherwise, you have to go for the expert creation, okay? So you
Yeah.
cannot use it. So that is the reason. Suppose whenever I am using pass field, PASS, it should be unique in nature. No other field should start with that password, ID or password, right? In case it is a not in unique, then you need to go for the XPath or ID creation with different tag name, with different indexes, all this stuff. Okay, so I think my network slow. So let's close it and let's try to run it once more time. Sometime because of the network failure, sometimes some problem can occur. Let's try to run one more time. Okay, so that is the reason I was telling, right? So suppose say you are having 50 test cases, and if you run 50 test cases, sometimes you find that 10 test cases got failed, but those 10 cases are not real failure. Sometimes there can be false failure because of the synchronization issue. That is the reason, instead of hard coding all this stuff, time you need to go for the explicit time wait instead of implicit time wait, so that it will wait for that until the particular object is getting visible, all this stuff is happening. Okay, now you can see it will work, right? It's working, the same code. So that is the reason, whenever you are automating something, you should run your code multiple times. After running for multiple times only, your code becomes stable enough. Okay, if you run 1 or 2 times, your code will not be stable. If you run 10 times, your code will be more stable. Okay, so that is the beauty of automation. You should code 1 time, you can run multiple times. Okay, you can see this running. Now the last part I will show you the tag name. Let's comment it out.
I have one small question. Hello.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. We are identifying the elements with the help of ID, link test, partial link test. So where we will store these elements?
Definitely, whenever you will be creating the framework, data driven, keyword or hybrid driven framework, you can store them. Or here, suppose say for single element, you need to perform multiple operation, right? You can store them in some web element. Okay, let's uncomment it out. Suppose say, I am giving you a simple example here. Suppose say that particular ID, right? This is the ID here. Suppose say I need to username field, I need to check multiple times whether the username field is right, visible or not, whether username field is editable or not. After that I want to add something, right? Okay,
Yes.
so I will be creating first a web element. Suppose say what is the field name? With the field name I will be creating username, so I can give uname. Okay, that is the part. I will be creating web element. Okay. So this is the part you need to import it, because web element is a class available in Selenium WebDriver. So that's why, like just like that object, for instance, I have created a variable for web element. So now I can, with the help, instead of writing so many line of code, right, I can check whether that uname field is visible or not, right. So I will check uname dot is displayed. Okay. Then I will check SO whether uname field is enabled or not. Is enabled. This is the methods. You can see return type is boolean, so it will either give you true and false, because it will return something. It is not like that it is a void return type. It will return type. Similarly, this will also return true or false. It is coming from the web element class, right? Is enabled means, are we able to add something or not? In case it is disabled or read only, we will not able to enable something. After that, we will uname dot send keys. Okay. So that is the simple thing, we can do it. And during the framework part, definitely we will be creating some Excel, and from that Excel we will be reading it. So down the line, so whenever I will be covering data driven, keyword driven framework, so everything will be drive with the help of keyword and with the help of different properties of that corresponding object or element. Let's try to run it and let's see whether its element is getting
So
clicked or.
all these, okay, all these objects we will, I mean, we should store in some Excel, external Excel
Yeah,
file.
yeah, yeah. In the real-time framework, definitely will be not hard coding anything. All the your input, all your properties, everything will be driven from the Excel sheet. Okay, or the page object model, right? In the page object model, you already see there is a find element annotation, find by annotation, everything will be there. Okay, so all these things, instead of hard coding, you can easily figure it out in case of any problem from the Excels or your page object model, right? Or in case if you have any kind of fallacy or error, you can easily fix them out, right? So it is not working, or any kind of error is there? No, it is still working. Okay, it will add identify, and it is taking some time. Because why it is used to take some time? Because in case any web page is having multiple kind of images, it should take lot of times. In case it is having, you can see this page is very big, right? So until all the pages complete part is loaded fully, it will actually do not identify the element. That is the reason we should generally use explicit timeout. So as and when my particular field is visible and I am able to identify it, it does not care about the remaining fields, right? So that's why with the help of explicit timeout I can do it. So now you can see the output, it's already entered username with the help of only the variables instead of the whole component, right? You can see true and true. You can see is displayed, is enabled, then it is entering. Why? We are creating a variable with the help of web element class. Suppose say tomorrow we need to change XPath to CSS. So we will be updating only one line of code instead of all line of code, right? That is the beauty of web element, creating a variable for each and every field. In case the field need to be used 10 times, so this is the simple part I am doing it. But suppose say you are having 1000 line of code and same element need to be used suppose say 50 places, so definitely you will be not writing so many lines of code 50 places. Instead of that, you will be using only that variable name. And in case your properties need to be changed, you will be changing in only one places instead of 50 lines of places. So that is the beauty of whenever you will be learning framework, you can get to know what is the advantage of framework. That is the reason in the real time we should not use any standalone part. We should definitely go with some framework. It can be data driven, it can be keyword driven, it can be combination of data driven and keyword driven, and definitely we should use some object pattern. It can be page object model or singleton design pattern, but nowadays most of the projects are using only the page object model, which is nothing but the POM. And whenever you will be creating framework from the scratch, right? So you can see here. So just like I am seeing, this is the keyword driven framework, right? I have created the framework. So today I am just giving you the high level shot. You can see if you go to the test cases dot page, test cases dot XLS. So whenever I will be showing you the framework, so everything is trapped in the test cases. Excel sheet, and from the Excel sheet with the help of Apache PY, right, we are reading and writing the data. Okay, and object or properties, we are using the fixed component, whatever is fixed in the nature, URL is fixed, time unit is fixed, you can do it. So, but no need to worry, you will be learning step by step. In case if you want to, suppose say if you do not have any exposure, I am not denying that you do not know anything, but suppose say in case you do not know anything, you need to start your journey or learning through the alphabet A B C D. Then you can go to frame some word, and then you can go for the paragraph, and then after that you can load some pages. So that's why you should go. Otherwise, if you today if you want to try to fill up a page, right, with some alphabet, it will be very, very tough for you. So that is the reasons, but definitely I should provide, my suggestion is that go with that standalone part first, have a good depth on the standalone part, have a good thought on that one, practice more. Once you are comfortable, you can easily try to frame sentences and go for the frameworkization part, because framework is nothing but our learning as a standalone part, and will be integrated in everything as a entity. Okay, it got hanged because of the open. Okay, I will try to cover that last part. In case it is got hang, it is not resolved, I will cover in the upcoming session tomorrow, next Saturday. So that are the different topics I have tried to cover today as part of the starting sessions. So few people did not join today's session as well. So, okay, hopefully they will be joining from next session onward, because the first session or recording was already provided. So in the previous batch I already recorded it, and all the recordings will be available in my YouTube channels. So this is the what is the objective of the training, whatever topics will be covered I already let you know, right? The basic and advanced Java, and then complete Selenium standalone part, then I will go for the test engine framework, then Maven, and then framework like data driven, keyword driven and hybrid, and then I will create a complete fresh project with the help of page object model from the scratch, where I will try to include interfaces, right, and then listener classes, report ng, Apache PY, right, log4j, and as well as the extend report, right. Then what are the additional benefit you will be getting, you already know, right? What is automations, what is Selenium web developer all about, how we can install all the important prerequisite to start your, right, your area for the automation testing. So you can also prepare resume, right, where I have tried to give the tricks, right. In case if you want to crack the interview especially for the automations, you need to learn different framework, right, Selenium standalone part, Maven, TestNG, Jenkins, as well as especially for the Java one, you need to go for OPS concept, collection framework, and your multi-threading part. You need to learn that CI/CD, you need to learn parallel testing, you need to learn what is proof of concept or POC, and what is the return of investment or ROI all about in the automation. And this is the automation testing overview. This is the different automation lifecycle process: planning, test script design, enhancement, and debugging, running script, and then analyzing test result, reporting defect, and summarizing it. Right? These are the different tools available in the market. Apart from Selenium, some of which is free source, some open source, and some of which is the licensed tool. So for the licensed tool, you will not getting much support, but for the cost one, right, for which you will be providing the cost to the vendor, you will definitely getting some sort of source, support, right. This is the component of Selenium. Initially Selenium IDE was in the market, after that Selenium RC came, and then Selenium RC and web developer integrated to Selenium 3, and Selenium Grid is primarily used for the parallel or distributed testing. Advantage and disadvantage I have tried to depict it here in my PPT. And right, Selenium supports different operating systems. It can be Mac, it can be Linux, it can be Windows. It supported different browsers, like it can be Chrome's, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Opera. It can be mobile devices, iOS, tablet, or Android, right. It support different programming language, Java, C Sharp, right, Perl, Python, okay, and different prerequisites are also tried to given it here, Java, Eclipse, Selenium jar file, and different drivers for different browsers. And whenever you are trying to start your project, right, so you need to launch Eclipse and then you need to create a project. After the project is created, you need to create a package. Then in the package, you need to create a class. And as we are dealing with the Java project, so you need to select the main method, right, which is nothing but the public static void main method. And after that, you need to create multiple functions there, right, multiple lines of code. And definitely, you need to associate your Selenium jar file to the project. And these are the different naming conventions tried to give, because in the real-time framework, you need to rely on some concept, right? You cannot do whatever you want to do. You need to follow some standard or protocols, so that it will help your life as well as it will help your other peer lives and as well as the stakeholder life. So you can run your program with the help of Firefox. These are the different element locator. What is element? Each and every web page will consist different kind of entity which will be termed as an element, and we need to first identify it with the help of F12 button, inspector icon, and then with the help of ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, you can definitely try to identify the element. In case nothing is available, right, then you can go for the XPath or CSS selector, right. So that's are the different parts for today's topics. I will see you in case it is working. Okay, I think my Excel is not completely working. It has stopped working today due to some installation or uninstall. Okay, so the tag one I will show you in the next session. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Thank you. In case any questions, I can discuss it. Let's me